You're listening to Passing Time, a Detroit Lions podcast. We're one pride and all grit, with a passion for Detroit Lions football. Whether you're between meetings, between classes, sitting in traffic, or just relaxing at home, if you have time to pass, pass it with Passing Time. Detroit Lions Talk.
Welcome back. Episode number 29, Brian.
Let's go.
You are on the clock, and you're passing time with us, a Detroit Lions podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Brian.
And we are excited. Hey, we're coming off a big W last week.
All right, the roller coaster, it's at its peak.
Are y'all still there? I know you were teetering on the ledge of a skyscraper last week. If you're listening, you didn't jump, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Maybe my therapy session helped out last week.
It helped me. It definitely helped me.
Bill!
Yeah, we'll see where he's at.
Bill, are you out there? Hey, betting lock of the week, 3 for 3.
Let's go. I mean, keep it rolling, man.
Should
keep it rolling.
Should I hand another one out?
If you got one.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Keys to the game. Big game this week.
It is a big game.
We're going to talk about the Eagles game. We're going to lead off the podcast with the game Sunday night against the Eagles.
Eagles-Lions, let's go.
On NBC. Thank goodness it's not on ESPN for all you YouTube subscribers like myself.
And myself.
All right.
Yeah.
Actually, Brian mentioned that he had to go up to a pub to watch Monday Night Football.
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, I mean, you just feel obligated to like eat their food and drink their drinks,
right?
And if you're there for a full football game, that's a lot of yeses. I'll take one more. Right?
One more.
Like, yeah. Oh boy. Let's talk about MCDC wearing the glasses and looking at the play sheet.
Looking studious. Looking good, looking smart. He's not just a meathead anymore.
Okay. Are you calling me a meathead, or are you calling yourself studious?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about John Morton, MCDC, the offensive play calling duties, and then we'll recap definitely the beatdown in Washington.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we'll kick it around the north a little bit. We'll talk power rankings and really lots to talk about. But we're gonna lead off with the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. So Lions Philly. This is a tough matchup.
No kidding. Yeah. All right, there we go. Yeah.
I like to get that all out there first.
That's good analysis. All right. Look, moving on now to the Commanders. We got that one pegged.
Check.
Where do you want to pick up from here? So let's just kind of talk some storylines here. So it's Lions at Philadelphia, night game. 2025. Let's just talk about primetime spots for the Lions. In 2025, primetime spots, Lions are getting a lot. They're 4-2.
I mean, they know how to play in those big games. They know when the lights are the brightest, they do tend to show out. So
since 2022, they win about 75% of their primetime spots. But they've been winning a lot of games since 2022.
Yep, and you see that trajectory going up. They get up for those games. They like them. There's a reason that the NFL is putting them in those spots too, because they're getting eyes on those games.
Stock injuries. So looking at the Eagles list, first, 4 of 5 of their offensive linemen are limited in practice this week, and they haven't been cleared to play. One of them is listed as doubtful to play this weekend. But beyond that, they're a pretty healthy
team. And they seemed to be that way last year as well. They won a Super Bowl, and they were one of the healthiest teams in the NFL last year too.
Yeah. So. Took a peek at the Detroit Lions list.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get all the way to the bottom?
It looked a lot like Bonnie Blue's list when she goes to Mexico. It was a long list. It was a long list.
Wow.
A lot of those guys are probably going to play.
Yes.
So do you want to kind of run through what we're expecting there with the Detroit Lions on guys that are listed that you're kind of expecting to play?
You see guys like Hutch on that list who did not practice today. He's going to play. You see guys like TA. That's the big question mark right now. Who's in concussion protocol? We're recording this on Wednesday night, and we'll know probably more tomorrow. If he's a full participant in practice, then he's probably going to be rolling and ready to go. Taylor Decker is limited in practice today, he's gonna go. Okay. So you got guys that are on that list, and it's a lengthy list, but we're gonna try to get them right, and we're gonna make sure that they're healthy, and they're gonna most likely be up for this game.
Okay, all right. So as we kind of think about this game, what are a couple things that you are particularly excited about going into the game at night against Philadelphia on the road?
So this is another one of those tests, a measuring tool to see where the Lions are. They're coming off a big win with Washington, but in saying all of those things too, Washington did not necessarily have the highest of stats. They did not have necessarily the highest of ranks and so on. And right now I'm looking into this and saying, hey, is this because are we going to see the Dan Campbell glasses again? Are we going to be able to see what he really has against a quality defense?
So along those same lines, what are the chances, 0 being the Dan Campbell's not going to be calling plays, and then 10 he'll be calling plays next week?
Oh, he is. Dan's preparing for the rest of, I would say, the rest of this year to be calling offensive plays for the Detroit Lions. Yeah. He knows this. He's trying to save face with John Morton. He's telling him he's a vital part of their offense, a vital part of their team, a vital part of their coaching staff. He's giving them great information and data up in the box. But this is Dan's offense. This is Dan's team. And shame on me for not having as much trust in Dan last week going into the Commanders game, because the reality is it came out again. Dan's team came out. The Lions showed who they really are, and we're hoping to see that same stuff against the Eagles.
Yeah. So shame on all of us. We talked way too much about coordinators.
Yeah.
And we just forgot that the head man is the steady captain. He's going to sail the ship.
Right.
I think part of the reason also that Dan feels so comfortable spending more time on offense is what we got over there calling plays on defense.
And I think that's part of it too. I mean, if you looked at early in the season, we have 2 brand new coordinators to the Lions, and Shep being a first-time coordinator. But Shep has shown that he can handle his stuff, right? And so maybe that means that Dan can step away from the defensive side a little bit more, put his trust in Kelvin Shepherd, and put his efforts more into that offense side.
Don't get too used to Kelvin Shepherd being in the Honolulu and blue, though.
Yeah.
I think this is a guy that's destined to get a chance. And you're going to hear, I mean, you're kind of hearing it already. He's going to be interviewed as soon as next year.
Absolutely. And you just hope that you don't have to continue to have this carousel of coordinators going on in the Detroit Lions, but it's also a testament to what our organization is doing. We're doing just like we do with our players. We draft players, we develop players, and we pay players, and we're doing that same thing with our coaches, right?
Yeah. So the first thing you're kind of excited about is just kind of the offense, the new life that Dan Campbell's pumped into it.
Woo!
Talk a little bit about some of the player interviews after the game and then during this week, and then what the guys are kind of feeling like.
I mean, you every time you've seen those interviews, they wanted to get right. After that Commanders game, they talked a ton about the Minnesota game, wanting to get right.
The mindset of this team when things don't go well, like the Minnesota game, that you have to respond. Is that the mindset?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely for the team. And interpersonally for myself, I feel like I let the team down, with the fumble, costly fumble. And that's not of me. And, I hate letting my team down. So I made it a big deal for myself to ensure that I was ready and prepared for the day. And I'm happy that we did.
Like I said, I think we built a winning culture here. And we respond when we don't play our best. And I think collectively, all 3 phases, we were flowing in sync back to who we are.
After the loss, we had got together and just dialed in on the small things, came out and played collectively, and that's what happened.
Having that bad taste in their mouth, they wanted to make sure that they got back on the right side of that column, the win column, and they wanted to feel like themselves again. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys are competitors. And that's what we've drafted to the Detroit Lions. We've drafted competitors. We've got guys that hate to lose. And that's one of the reasons, including Dan Campbell, why we don't go back-to-back losses, right? These guys do all the things that they need to do week in and week out in order to get right. And when things don't go their way, they make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's in order to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and the boys were they were happy.
They were happy,
right? They got the rock. They were excited about.
And who got the rock? We all got the rock.
Yeah.
On Sunday, we distributed that ball. Jahmyr got his. Amon-Ra got his. Gibbs definitely got his. Monty got his. I mean, they were able to find the right scheme, the right plays, the right system in order to make sure that all the guys got the rock. So
yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
If you listened to the pod last week, I talked about how this was a perfect get-right game for the Lions.
Right.
The Commanders presented an opportunity to go exploit a below-average defense without a starting quarterback, without the ability to maintain an offensive flow. It was just a nice setup for the Lions coming off a tough loss.
And saying all that, I mean, we're saying this because Dan Campbell is taking over the reins of offensive coordinator, and he'll probably have that position for the next. I mean, countless days, weeks going into this season. Maybe he briefly talked about next year, maybe seeing John come back as the OC, but who knows what that might bring. And maybe that's just saving face and doing his buddy a solid. So,
and does John want to come back under those circumstances? I mean, that it's going to take two there. We'll find that out. That's tomorrow's problems. That's a Brian and Rob next year podcast. And then, second, defense is stepping up. It was against the Commanders, but we're not just an offensive football team.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is definitely it's not even a compliment to the offense. We are a true balanced team, setting up to be what I would call a Super Bowl contender.
I like that.
Yes.
I like this. It has a little ring to it. And, crazy enough is last week we did not necessarily have that same ring, but now coming off a win and getting right, it feels better. But going into the Eagles, it's going to be tested, and the Eagles defense, it's something that we have to take seriously.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the Lions defense is something we got to take seriously as well. So
the Eagles in the trenches are going to be the toughest team the Lions face in the regular season. So. That segues perfectly into a couple things that we should maybe be worried about, Brian, heading into this big, tough matchup.
We talked about the O-line a ton last week. We felt better, them getting right with the scheme and the play calling and a terrible defensive line. And ultimately, we all feel better, right? But are we going to continue to have that same feeling going into a really good defensive line, a really good front seven with the Eagles? And, are we going to be able to scheme up, the right plays in order to get Gibbs, more than 32 yards? Are we going to be able to get Monty his? Are we going to be able to have enough time for Goff to stand tall in that pocket?
Yeah. And then on the other side of the ball, I'm really curious to see how the Lions defense defends the Eagles when they are in short down situations. The Eagles are converting at an 86% clip when they're in third down and less than 2.
And you go back and remember, Dan Campbell voted to continue to keep that tush push. I heard him today in his press conference talk about he hates to take things away from the game.
I don't know. Well, here's why. I'm a purist, man. You take something else out of the game, then we're taking the next thing out of the game. Then you're taking another thing out of the game. Then pretty soon we don't have pads anymore. And then pretty soon you're only playing 30 minutes. And then pretty soon it's. So that's why I don't want to take it out of the game. It's something. A team's got a niche. They found something. They're good at it, and it's for everybody else to stop. And it's unique, and it's physical. And more than anything, I just don't want to take anything else out of the game. I just want to leave the game alone. That's me.
Let's just keep everything. If it's fine, if you found a niche, keep it. And I appreciate that about him, but. The Eagles have found a niche, and they are going to use it.
You're starting to see unique strategies against it, right?
Yeah.
It's basically who can get the lowest.
Yep,
is going to win.
Was it the Minnesota Vikings having a guy lay down and in front of the center in order to get even as close to the surface as possible?
Yeah.
So
I think the Lions are going to have a wrinkle.
Yeah,
They're always a creative team on offense.
Always
They're always a creative team on defense. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see. And then, just prime time, Sunday night football, NBC. Buckle up, right? Sunday night, buckle up.
It's going to be fun. I can't guarantee a win here, but at the same time, it is going to be a tight battle. And you're going to see the best of the Lions, and you're going to see the best of the Eagles.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of kind of tit for tat. Lions offense, Eagles defense, and then vice versa. Eagles offense, Lions defense. We'll show kind of statistically where they rank and see if there's any mismatches in there.
Yeah. So
Lions passing offense averaging about 240 a game, 236, 10th in the NFL.
Okay.
Going against the Eagles, who are allowing 210, 14th in the NFL. That seems fairly matched.
Even. Yeah, pretty even. We'll see who can find that mismatch. Is Deshaun Cooper going to be somebody that's going to be able to take away that slot position? Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, who's played great football this year. Who's going to get the upper hand?
It's Cooper DeJean.
It's Cooper DeJean. Did I go DeJean Cooper? Yeah.
His black brother. It might have been DeJean Cooper, but that's
fair. Right, you got it.
The white guy, Cooper DeJean. Yeah. So
the Iowa native. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
All right.
So the Lions rushing offense, averaging 136 a game, ranked 9th in the NFL. So if you listen to those two stats, 10th and 9th offense on passing and running situations. Are going against an Eagles rushing attack, allowing 118 yards a game, which is 19th in the NFL. So there's some potential wiggle room there.
Sure. And from my understanding, the edges is maybe where the Lions should be attacking. It seems to be a little bit more vulnerable on the outside. But at the same time, Phillips was just added to the Eagles defensive line, and he looked really, really solid on Monday night against the Green Bay Packers.
So overall, Lions scoring, averaging 31.5 points a game, ranked 2nd in the NFL, Brian.
Love that. Going
against the Eagles, who are allowing about 22 points a game, ranked 19th in the NFL.
Okay, well, so, check upper hand Lions,
yeah,
right?
Really the first solid check there. Flip it to the other side. Eagles passing offense, they're not known to be a high passing team. They run to pass the ball. They're averaging 205 a game, 25th in the NFL. So I think that's an area where the Lions are a little bit weak on the defensive side of the ball, but they're not a scary threat to go against.
Sure. And, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, haven't had necessarily their best years year going into this season, but it depends on, is TA going to come out of concussion protocol healthy? Is Amit going to be able to continue to shut down some of the top wide receivers in the game? And, it looks like Kirby Joseph probably isn't going to be back again for another week. We're still pretty banged up in that position.
Yeah. Eagles rushing, averaging 112 a game, 12th in the NFL. Lions against the rush, 6th in the NFL.
Okay.
That's kind of another check mark.
Maybe another check Lions here. Saw some cool stats too. Roy Lopez had a game. Right, had a game this last week, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But our interior D line, I think, is a little underrated. DJ Reader is having a fantastic year. Aleem McNeil getting healthy. And
how are they underrated? This is the best interior in the NFL.
My gosh, they are doing things that shutting down running games from the interior out. But in saying that, we have a rookie that looks pretty solid that can't find reps right now. Tyleek is somebody that, statistically, when he's in, the run is shut down better than when he's out, but yet he still can't find those reps that he needs. So.
It's a product of being fresh, though, too. I mean,
sure.
The Lions have the ability to rotate guys, to keep guys fresh, to wear the offensive line down. And that's the Lions. It's their biggest strength on defense, for sure. It might be their biggest strength overall.
Their D-line, their interior D-line?
Yeah.
That's something to say right there. Okay.
That is something to say.
All right.
And then you don't even want to stop at their interior D-line because you have Aiden Hutchinson who just signed a pretty sizable contract.
Sure.
And he's a top 5 defensive end in the NFL.
He is. And he's having I'm gonna say a good season right now. He's having some success. I would say he didn't have as much success against the Commanders, but he's gonna go through waves, and you're gonna see him like next game possibly get 4 sacks against the Eagles, or against New York, or whatever. He's gonna find his, and Aiden's gonna be okay, right? Just because he may only have had 2 pressures or 0 sacks, he still has an impact in the game. And when somebody you have to account for him with tight ends and backs and tackles, there's going to be somebody freed up. And if that's Brian Branch, so be it. If that's Alex Anzalone, so be it. If it's Muhammad on the other side, so be it. Like he's gonna do his job.
Yeah. And then finally, we just look at the Eagles' offensive stats. They're averaging 24 a game, which ranks them 12th in the NFL. The Lions are giving up 22 a game, which ranks 8th in the NFL.
Probably right there, a little even Steven there. So,
but you think about the Lions' second in the NFL in scoring points. I think it puts a little bit of pressure on the Eagles to try to keep up with the Lions, or to try to do what Dan Campbell likes to do to teams and drag them in the deep end and muddy up the game a little bit.
I love that, and that's what I'm hoping that we see. Monty getting his and getting those dirty yards. Gibbs getting on the edge and wearing guys down. Penei Sewell out front just wrecking guys, and then dink and dunk. With those short, quick releases, getting that ball out quick with Jared Goff, making those appropriate checks into proper plays. And then taking your shots.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what we're hoping for.
Yeah. You talk about this is prime time, baby. This is 2 of the top 5 teams in the NFL battling it out on Sunday Night Football.
Let's go.
Brian, do you want to deliver the Lions spotlight, kind of highlighting a few things going on between injuries, guys that had breakout weeks last week, and just kind of give everybody a little taste of what we should be looking at under the hood of the Detroit Lions roster?
Sure. You look at guys like DJ Reed and Marcus Davenport. Their 21-day window is open, and we should see them hopefully coming back soon. We saw them on the practice field today, at least getting reps in a limited basis. But that's awesome, right? Yeah. Whether that means it's in this coming week or the week after or the week after that, we're hopeful that we're going to continue to get better, more talented, deeper in those positions, and that's huge. Ahmad Hassanin back on the Lions, and not taking up a roster spot because we're using that international piece on the practice squad to fill that role. And, he is, you listen to this guy, he is awesome. He is a loyal through and through. He's like, nope, I was drafted by the Lions. I want to be a Lion. I am loyal to the Lions. I'm not going anywhere else. It sounds like he had offers other places, 31 other places, but he stayed true to the Detroit.
When we talked to Brad about the decision to waive you with an injury settlement, he was confident, bottom line, he's going to be a Detroit Lion. Just what was your side of that equation?
It was absolutely the same. I'm a loyal guy, and this team picked me for a reason, and I truly feel like this is the best team for me, and this team means everything to me, and because when somebody picks me, I'm a loyal guy, man. I stick with them, and I don't want to leave. And I was talking to my agent, and he was telling me 31 called, and he was asking about you, and I was like, man, I am not going anywhere. I'm staying here because this is where I want to be, and this team believes in me, and I love them, and I'm not going anywhere. So
which is fantastic. I think he's a Dan Campbell guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Dan Campbell knew that, and I think they took a calculated risk of kind of doing some roster gymnastics to get him out and back over the course of a couple weeks.
And it's interesting to say that we say Ahmad is a loyal guy, but it looks like Detroit is loyal as well. They're going to be people that when they say something, you can believe it, and it's not going to be just smoke and mirrors. Yeah. So they're not going to manipulate their guys. They're going to be upfront, transparent, and honest, and they're going to make sure that they give them what they need. So,
and then we had the offensive player of the week last week
after
a clunker. So a big bounce back game from Jahmyr.
Jahmyr Gibbs, huge day, 15 carries, 142 rushing yards, 9.5 yards per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns, and let's not take away his 3 receptions for 30 receiving yards and another receiving touchdown.
Yeah, opened up the game.
Let's go.
Scoring a touchdown. So 172 scrimmage yards, 3 total touchdowns. That's just a banger. I mean, he is on pace. You've seen the stats, for under 24.
41 touchdowns at under 24. You look at some of the guys that he's next to. That's pretty impressive.
That's all Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And he's going to play the rest of this season under 24.
Yeah.
Which is so he's going to be tracking down some guys. What got me thinking? There are a lot of potential Hall of Famers on this Lions roster.
Can we just take a second?
Yeah.
Can we just take a second and
pass a little time doing something?
Pass some time and enjoy this. I mean, I know that I've been on an emotional roller coaster, ups and downs with the Detroit Lions. All right, last week I was down. I will admittedly say that the Detroit Lions impacts me. Right, I have a love for this team. I have a love for this game. But in the same breath, I can say that I appreciate the guys that Brad Holmes has brought in, the way that Dan Campbell has coached them, and these guys, the willingness and what they give to this team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you look at guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, and you're like, man, in 5 to 10 years, we're going to be looking back and saying, like, glory days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking back. And then we look at Penei Sewell, and we're going to be looking back and say, glory days, right? Amon-Ra, Jared Goff, J-Mo. We're going to look at guys like Jack Campbell,
Aiden Hutchinson,
Aleem McNeil, and others. Like, I feel like this team is...
You haven't mentioned anybody in the interior defensive line that we really
I said
like.
Aleem McNeil.
Okay,
I said Aleem McNeil. Okay,
right.
So I just feel like we have a team, guys. We've talked about the plethora of riches that we have and the rich people problems that we have, but I don't think we necessarily appreciate the fact that this team is filled with Pro Bowl, All-Pro, and possibly Hall of Famers.
Yeah. I mean, you named a bunch of them, and out of those guys, I would say there's probably 4 or 5 probable Hall of Famers, depending on their career arc going out. So enjoy the ride.
Enjoy it.
Try not to get too emotional week to week.
Impossible.
But we will host a therapy session, and I will get you through this if you need it. And that's why we're here, passing time. Yeah,
Thanks,
so
Rob.
not just you.
I appreciate it. No,
everybody. Everybody. So if you jump in the comments, if you want to do a one-on-one session with me, we can do something off the script too as well. So looking at the NFL power rankings, Brian, there's some familiar names, and there's some teams that you didn't expect to probably be up in this category right now. So
yeah, I mean, beginning of the season, if you said that the Indianapolis Colts were going to be a top 3 team, I would have said, there's no way.
You would have said, man, Anthony Richardson finally figured it out.
That's what you would have said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's not what we're saying.
That's not what we're saying. Yeah. Anthony Richardson, I think he's on the IR.
Is he?
He's on a milk box somewhere, right? Like, who knows where he is.
Yeah.
But you got Daniel Jones, who was cast off. Not only was he cast off, right? Let's get this straight here. The Giants said, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
And then he landed with the Vikings, carried a clipboard for enough weeks where they could see what they had, and they said, thank you, but no
thank you. Yeah.
Goes the Colts. They say thank you.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's make this right. I mean, let's be honest. He's getting some help. Jonathan Taylor is definitely supporting that cast as well. He's not the only cast. He's not the only character in this movie, but he's definitely the lead character in this movie.
But maybe Jonathan Taylor has always been that guy.
That's true.
They just didn't have anything of quality to scare opponents. So
sure.
I think Jonathan Taylor owes Daniel Jones just as much.
They got to play together, right? Yeah, for sure. And Anthony Pittman's having a resurgence of his career.
Warren's having a breakout rookie season.
Absolutely. So I mean, they're finding their pieces. They're finding what their identity, and they're taking advantage of that week in and week out. So
that being said, the power rankings break down like this: 1, Rams.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I could. It's hard to argue that.
It's hard to argue.
Okay. Yeah.
And we can argue that Matthew Stafford is having at least in the conversation of MVP season, right?
I can't get over his teeth.
Yeah,
I just can't get over his teeth.
Very white.
Yeah, very big white. Yeah. Anyways, Broncos 8-2. Look at who the Broncos have beaten. Look at some of those scores. I think there's some fool's gold right there.
They're an interesting team because they grind things out. They don't necessarily do it in your typical blowout fashion. They do what's necessary to win games. And so I'll give them the credit that they deserve because like winning's hard in the NFL. And if you said that the Lions were 8-2, I would be like, let's go. I mean, I'd be very excited about that, regardless of how they got there.
Yeah, you would. I know.
I would.
You're emotional. You would rather win. You'd rather be 8-2 and have heart attack wins than 6-3 and have some really brilliant wins and then a couple tough learning lesson losses.
Well, if they're just learning lessons, then I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. We can figure this out.
So Broncos 2, Colts. We talked about them 3. Seahawks 4, 8-2. Having a solid season. Sam Darnold, man, he's back-to-back pretty good years. Mm-hmm. Great supporting cast. They're good in all facets of the game.
Mm-hmm. I'm just interested in when they're going to figure him out, right? What defense is going to figure out Sam Darnold and put him in position and pressures that he may see in week 18 of last year?
Is this a rhetorical question? Are you saying like you can't wait for the Lions to face Sam Darnold?
I can't wait to see the Lions face Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And then 5 and 6 are your Eagles and your Lions right there. And they're squaring up here to figure out who's going to flip-flop those spots.
I'm very interested to see this. This is it's a big matchup. I'm not going to say this is a must-win. I'm not going to say that this is like
emotionally for you. It's
emotionally do or die. But at the same time, like you see the Lions, they have to keep it tight. They got to keep it at least close, in my opinion, in order to prove that they are where they need to be, right? Mm-hmm. So,
well, they got a lot of guys hurt. We're getting healthier. You talked about guys that aren't going to play for sure. Versus the Eagles are pretty healthy, so we're not going to panic here. But we're not going to give away our prediction quite
yet. I can't guarantee that I won't panic.
No, I can actually guarantee that you will panic. I'm not a gambler, but if I were to lay some money on it, if the Lions lose, it's minus 10,000 odds that you're going to be here in my basement panicking on the next podcast. Yeah.
It'll be an emotional roller coaster all over again. So
I don't know what's in that drinking fountain that you and Bill are drinking out over there, but I think you're drinking some tears out of that. Anyway, so let's recap the Commanders game real quick. Put a bow on it. We don't have to get too far into it because y'all saw it and we conquered, and we put up yards. So speaking of that, 546 yards.
So obviously the storyline here is Dan Campbell had his glasses on and a big play call sheet right in front, right? I know we had a little text group going, and I'm like, Dan's calling plays. Very excited about Dan calling plays. And we saw that from pretty close to the beginning of that game. And the reality is I think that has a major impact. I really do. It just the flow of this game, the confidence they had in Dan Campbell and Dan Campbell's confidence in his players. There is something to say when your head coach has a pulse of his team. They knows what they want, they knows what they need, and knows how to get them in the proper positions to be successful.
Yeah. And you could see it in their energy on the field after the game. I think that juice carries forward, right? That momentum carries forward. And what a perfect time to have that carry forward, but into the Philadelphia Eagle game, which is it's one of those matchups that it's all on the line here. And this probably says, who's the best bet to win the NFC?
And I agree. If you think about what they need in order to beat the Eagles, and they probably need to have a really tight, perfect game, and offensively, defensively, and special teams. And I would say the closest game that they've had so far is maybe the Bears, if not the Washington Commanders games. So I would say that right now the special teams continues to need to tighten some things up here and there. I think they need to continue to play this complementary football, which I think they're playing offensively and defensively, at least this last week, and they need to have that roll into the Eagles. So,
and the Eagles, they didn't play a great game last week, and they made some curious decisions, specifically that last drive in the fourth quarter, where they gave Green Bay the ball back.
The third down pass or the fourth, second or third down pass and then punt, or is it the later going for it on fourth down and going deep? There's some quandaries there.
Yeah, and I kind of like that, right? You got some second guessing going on this week, and the Lions got all the juice. So Goff had a great game, 25 for 33, 320, 3 touchdowns. We talked about Gibbs. Jahmyr finally put a Jahmyr game on the board. It's been a while, right? Over 100 yards.
Love it. And to see him finally get his and to have this like game that we all knew coming out of preseason that he should be having week in and week out, but wasn't necessarily I don't believe utilized correctly, but here we are figuring that out. So
did Dan Campbell call such a good offensive game plan that it made the offensive line look better than what we really are, or like because the O-line looked great.
So I agree. The O-line looked great. I think partially this is scheme. I think partially this is a continuity that comes from a change, right? Yeah. When you get called out and you say that when somebody says that you get your ass beat, these guys aren't going to take kindly to that, right? So they're going to come back with a vengeance and be ready to go, and to give their all. They want to give their best efforts, and they did. They look solid. Whether it was Yodi at left guard or Taylor Decker looking solid in pass pro, or even like Tate Ratledge, who we're seeing more and more of statistics come out that he is having a tremendous rookie season.
I don't think we have the stats in front of us, but we may memorize. You were telling me before we jumped on the pod, you saw Tate popping up on a couple lists.
Yeah, being like top 12, top 13 offensive guards. The guy is performing well in his rookie season.
We got to talk about it, but the punch heard around the world.
Woo!
So there's been kind of two sides to this story, Brian. It was he punched me earlier, and I punched him back. What's your take here?
So what you see, and I believe, and this is all coming out through social media and Payne, and listen, Amon-Ra gets his butt beat by, I believe it's Bobby Wagner, right? And then he pops up pretty fired up, gets excited, talking to some folks. Payne gets in his face. There's a pushy match going back and forth. In that process, Amon-Ra pushes back. Then I don't know if it's a punch. It could be a punch, but definitely hits him in the face mask. I think it's an open hand. Who cares, right? A referee is right there, comes in, breaks it up. Okay, no flag is called, no flag is thrown. It is not a penalty. Okay, we move on a couple plays later. We score a touchdown. Amon-Ra is talking his stuff. Payne takes doesn't appreciate the conversation, apparently, and basically like cold cocks the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sucker punches him, and so in that process, flag is thrown and he is ejected from the game. Not what a play later. Another was it Keenlaw throws another punch, or not necessarily a punch, but makes contact with the official, but no flag is thrown. Or a flag is thrown, but no ejection happens. It's pretty baffling to see this progression of chaos.
What's a principal's take on this, Brian? Is it who are you suspending from school after all this happens?
As the assistant principal, we have a no tolerance policy for violence. So both parties should be suspended from this particular.
Amon-Ra included?
In my take, yeah. I mean, if we were going on educational basis, but we're not, because there's also this idea of heat of the moment, right? When you see Amon-Ra get involved in this, there's a push back and forth of this, right? There's a heat of the moment process or portion of this, and like Amon-Ra got caught up. Like I won't disagree with that. Should he be fined? Probably. Will he be fined? I don't know. It's pretty late in the game at this point. They should probably have those fines come out as of now to determine whether he is going to be fined or it definitely won't be suspended. So, in saying that, Payne did this like a couple plays later. If Payne would have retaliated right then, I can understand like the heat of the moment. But it's now this play has happened. We've moved forward, and then it continues. That's when Payne, gets that we call it the hockey mentality, right? The second guy in, you get this aggravator on the ice that just continues to pick until the other guy blows up. It's always the second guy that gets caught. So.
Yep, and he got caught.
Oh,
so let's jump into making people money.
Let's go.
All right. You like making people money?
You like making people
like
money.
Hey,
all right. We got Rob's OnePride Picks.
Yeah. So thinking about this. So the stats don't lie. On the record, I'm 3 for 3, but since I've been doing this, I'm 4 for 4. I didn't post one of my stats. So just
doesn't
FYI,
count. Doesn't count. It's just 3 for 3. Don't let him do this.
David Hayhow, if you're watching, you know that. All right. Anyways, so line went from 1.5. Line's plus 1.5 to 2.5. Money is rolling in on the Eagles, and Vegas is trying to figure out if they can slow that money down because Vegas doesn't care who wins. They just want to have a slight edge, and they want equal money on both sides, right? Okay. They want the juice, okay? Yeah. So they're trying to slow that money down. It's Wednesday night. It's a long way to go to figure out what happens to that and the way that changes. So the Lions are 13-6 as dogs since 2022. Over under 46.5. So Vegas is saying, kind of expect a 24-22 type style game right in that ballpark. In Lions games, the over is hit 9 out of the last 10 times, Brian.
So they're going to go over that 46.5.
No, I'm not saying that, Brian.
Oh, well
okay. No.
But your statistics say that.
But my statistics say that. Both teams are 6-3 against the spread this year, so they're both done well against the spread. Eagles at home are 9-1 in the last 10 games.
Wow.
Lions are 13-3 against the spread in the last 16 games. So there's a lot of data here that I'm trying to sort out right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tease this into a Saturday, because I don't know how to post these. I'm going to do a short, send a video to Brian, and Brian's going to throw it up on the website, and I'll have actually maybe Friday. I'll have a formulated game plan. But those are all things I'm considering. This is research. I'm not, we're not throwing stuff against the wall. We like money. We appreciate money. And we appreciate you having more money. So we're going to try to do the 100 Gambler. We are actually, don't put your mortgage on this. This is just all for fun. Yeah. Another thing I'm really kind of looking at and picking at is JMO, over under receptions in Q1 is 0.5. I feel like Dan likes when JMO is happy. He's in the flow, getting them going. I kind of like that. I'm not committing to that yet, but that is something that I think when JMO goes, he's got more juice than a lot of these guys, and Dan wants that juice. It's contagious. That juice is contagious. So I'm very, very interested in that one as well.
Okay, so
stay tuned for Friday, Saturday.
All right. So Rob's OnePride Picks are not being picked yet. So okay,
they are not being picked yet because I'm not going to give something to you that I haven't totally vetted, and I think there's going to be some movement in the lines that I want to be sure to be on the right side there.
All right, so stay tuned for a short coming out here Friday, if not early Saturday.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
But with that being said, people are here just for the Bills bullet points. Right?
I feel like at least 50, if not 60% of our listeners are just listening for Bill.
Those 4 guys.
Yep. And Bill, he rides that roller coaster as well. I ride that roller coaster. Listen, Bill might be running the roller coaster. Yes. All right, he knows the ups and downs.
It's shivering timbers for Bill, man.
You're coming off with a creak in your neck, and you're like, "Listen, I shouldn't ride this again." Yeah. But yet you do. So, he came off of the Washington game. He's like, "Listen, man, Roy Lopez is his guy, and he had a game. I mean, this guy had 5 tackles and only played 12 snaps. Yeah. Like 3 solo, 2 assists. In addition, he had 0.5 sacks. This guy, like, he played very, very well. And thank you, Bill, for appreciating and being positive about that.
Yeah. So, then let's go.
Let's give me the but here. Yeah. The Bills' but is that Hutch did not have a great game. Hutch had only a couple pressures in this process, but he needs to find ways to win even when he's chipped.
Can I call a timeout?
Sure. I mean, you are wearing
20-second timeout.
You're wearing the Hutch jersey. You got to defend the guy.
So, Bill, you're a football guy. But also, can I call a timeout inside of a timeout? That's like Inception.
Okay.
We're big West Catholic guys, and Bill is a potential coach for Catholic Central.
Cutting deep.
And West Catholic might have had a stunning last-second victory against Catholic Central.
It was a really, really good and an entertaining game, and it was all the way down to that very last play.
Sorry, Bill. Sorry, Bill. But with that being said, Bill, here's a lesson learned. Roy Lopez, I like him too. He's your guy, right? And in limited snaps, had a game. We're also talking about other interior guys having games, right? And then you wanna throw dirt on Hutchinson. Do you think it's possible that defenses are paying attention to Hutchinson a little bit more, given opportunity for some of those interior guys to be able to make some of those plays?
And I think we talked about this pre-pod, is Hutch is getting chipped. He is demanding attention. He is never being given those one-on-one opportunities or limited one-on-one opportunities. And the other guys have to win when they have those one-on-one opportunities. And it looked like Roy Lopez had those opportunities.
Yeah. So, guys, you can only have it's your best. There's no extra men on the field.
Right.
If Hutch is going to take extra guys, somebody is going to have to step up.
Yep.
And the interior has stepped up.
And if you look statistically speaking, our D-line is doing well. One of the things I was hearing was it's taken us a long time to get to those pressures, but at the same time, we have a high pressure rate.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting scheme because I feel like we rush or we stop the run on the way to the quarterback, right? And that's going to take longer than just pinning our ears back and going, right? But in that process, we also are top 10 in stopping the run. So what we're seeing here is a scheme that is effective for the Detroit Lions. It might not be the greatest for the Eagles. It might not be the best for the Vikings, but it's working for us.
Well, that's interesting because I think what you just described is the best way to attack the Eagles is you stop the run on the way to the quarterback. So what are the Eagles good at? Running the ball and having quarterbacks improvise and potentially run the ball or get outside the pocket and try non-scripted plays, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the Lions are really set up defensively to have some success against the Eagles.
And can we just take and like push copy on that Baltimore game plan? Because I felt like Derek Barnes might have one of those spectacular games again, and you might see Jack Campbell again and again and again having 12-plus tackles. And you're going to see Brian Branch find his times to get pressures. But ultimately, we are already set up for this success.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
Yep.
Around the NFL, the Packers 5-2-1. I love that one. I just love it. And it has to sit there all year, too. They have a get-right game against the Giants, who just fired their coach. This feels a lot like the Lions coming off a tough loss playing the Commanders. The Giants are going to be featuring a backup quarterback, new coach. But don't put it past the Packers because they tied the Cowboys and they lost to the Panthers. So it's a game that I would call this essential must win when you're going against a new coach, a poor team with actually their third string quarterback.
But can't you see the Green Bay Packers losing this game? If you looked at like where we see those losses on their record books, it's the Browns, Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, but listen, we sat here with Talking Grit guys.
Giants.
we sat here with Talking Grit guys, and Jacob, Jason, and Brian. Y'all were crowning the Packers after the first couple weeks. So like these roller coasters, the Packers are who they are. It's a long season.
It's a long season.
They're gonna get right.
And to their credit, like rolling it back a little bit, even though
whose credit?
To the Green Bay credit.
Okay. Right.
Their defense looked stout against the Eagles. They looked fast, they looked strong, they looked like they were getting to the ball in drones, and ultimately they played really well. They gave up 10 points. In the NFL, if you only give up 10 points, you should be winning that game.
Well, Micah Parsons said that on his Instagram. You know, he's already getting a little tired up there in Green Bay. It's not a big city, Micah. Like, not a lot of restaurants to go. So if you're talking there, you could hide in Dallas, but you're not hiding in Green Bay.
And not only that, but are you throwing your offense under the bus there? So okay. Yeah.
There's only one Applebee's to go to in Green Bay, Wisconsin, all right? So you're going to see everybody that read your Instagram post. I don't even know if they have Instagram in Green Bay, though. So, yeah.
The service is terrible.
Yeah. You got your resurging Bears, 6-3 against the Vikings. This is an interesting game.
It is. And I would be very interested to see what Caleb Williams does against a really good defense like the Vikings, right? I'm going to say that the Chicago Bears are finding ways to win, but they're finding ways to win against pretty bad teams.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like they're playing great teams here. I mean, if you look at majority of their wins are coming from 3-win teams or 2-win teams, their record against good teams is subpar. So
yeah, I mean, pretty big comeback to beat the Giants. Then you got the Vikings, who took a L against the Ravens last week.
They did.
But the Vikings are a tough team. I think they're going to give the Bears fits. I think that is the same way the Vikings can give the Lions fits, like they did a couple weeks ago. I think they're going to give the Bears fits. So, I mean, I'm rooting for another tie. I like those. That helps the NFC North out. But that's an intriguing game. You love those interdivision games, especially when the Lions are playing somebody outside the division.
Yep.
Anything else that you want to talk about here?
Other than making sure that you subscribe, go ahead and check us out on all those spots, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. We are at all the places that you can find your podcasts. So do us a favor and help us out.
Yeah, I will help your betting apps out. Give us some comments. Talk a little bit about that. Tell me that you're listening to the pod and then you like the bets. Who's taking some of these bets, and let me know. I'm interested to kind of hear that. And, I want to put that content out. So subscribe, comment, listen, keep us on the algorithm. We love getting together, doing this for y'all. Yeah. So let us know, your feedback back. So with that being said, we appreciate it. Thanks for passing time with us. Stay gritty. Go Lions.
Go Lions.